Okay, today we were reviewing Gamba, I think it's Gamba, the PNSO Carcharodontosaurus. This is a figure I'm super excited to review, so yeah, we'll just get right into it. I picked up this figure during Prime Week or Prime Day. I'm not exactly sure what the day or date is, but it's whenever you can get a lot of stuff on Amazon if you have Prime for a really good price. I picked up Gamba as well as Rosanna the Miragaia, which I've already reviewed on the channel, so you can watch that video if you want. I'll put a link to that in the description. But yeah, I picked up both of those figures. Those were two I really liked. I already mentioned in that video why I chose Rosanna, but I'd been wanting to get one of the Carcharodontosaurus for a while from PNSO. Originally, I'd planned on getting either the new Meraxes or Mapusaurus, but then whenever I saw this one on sale, I decided to get it because I had always really liked this figure, and I considered getting it at Christmas whenever I got that big Christmas lot of figures that included a lot of PNSO figures. But I ended up not getting it then. And then whenever this figure was on sale now, I decided, well, I'll just get this one instead of the Meraxes or Mapusaurus. I definitely still like both those figures and definitely could see myself getting those really soon, but with the sale price, it just made more sense to get this one at the time. Because like I said, I really liked all three of those figures, but whenever, and I'd kind of forgot about that one just because I'd seen so much about those two since how recently they came out, but whenever I saw that this one was on sale, just like I said, made the most sense to get right now at least. But yeah, this one did ship after the Miragaia arrived, and that's the only reason why it came after. But I did want to mention this is a fitting time to review this figure because this is the week after Shark Week, and this is the Shark-Tooth Lizard. So it's fitting, I think, to review it right now. So yeah, for some reason, every time I order PNSO figures, maybe it's just because I always order them from Amazon, the boxes are almost always kind of beat up. I don't know if it's just how they ship them. They don't, every time I've received the shipment, it's been in like a plastic bag or a paper bag, so that's probably got a lot to do with it. But yeah, we'll just go over the whole box really quick. For some reason, I was thinking, maybe this is a mess-up box, I don't know. But I was thinking that one side's always English and one side's always Japanese, but both of these sides are English, so I don't know if they've changed that or if that's just the difference on this figure specifically. But both of the sides on my box are English, and I think on my Miragaia that was not the case. Okay, I just cut the seal just so I could save you all a little bit of time. But I think I said Japanese, and I think it's actually Chinese. I'm not for sure, though. I know it's a Chinese, or not an Asian country that it's a language. So yeah, there we go. Sliding Gamba right out. And we'll get the little pamphlets and stuff out. I know this one actually does have some pamphlets. Or some extra stuff, so we'll go over that as well. I think it's like a poster, but yeah, it's got this. Oh, this one's a little booklet. Gamba the Carcharodontosaurus shows off some of the sides of the face. Use my sharp teeth to penetrate prey's flesh. Yeah, we won't read all that just to save you all a little bit of time, but we will flip through all of this. Just some more artwork of Gamba. Yeah, I think it's just a bunch of like angles. Oh, here's just a different thing of artwork of a Carcharodontosaurus. They've got it as over 11 meters, carnivore, Cretaceous, Africa. That's actually a smaller estimate. I've seen from 11 to 13 meters, so it's interesting that they chose feathers in the artwork. Let's see, is there anything really worth showing you all? I might have just wasted your stuff, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think it's mainly just a bunch of words and stuff, and showing off some of their puzzles, but yeah, I mean, it did show off that one cool artwork, I'll flip to it real quick, of this other Carcharodontosaurus that has some feathers, which is kind of interesting, but yeah, that's what the little booklet shows you. And then I believe you get a big poster. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the whole poster in frame, but we'll try the best I can. just lay it out and I'll move my camera up. So that's what it looks like. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of glare, but that's what the poster looks like. Yeah, once again, I think, yeah, they show a little bit of feathers on it, which is interesting on the poster, just because, you know, of the theropods that you could show feathers on, Carcharodontosaurus might not be the one that I would choose. But, I mean, it's just the artwork, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, now we'll actually unbox Gamba. So Gamba does come with a base, which I don't believe it's as bad of standing as the Allosaurus that I have, but I definitely have heard that it's not the best standing figure, so you probably should use the base. We'll see with mine. Yes, that picture looks, wow, that looks awesome out of hand. I have heard a few people say that it is a little smaller than they would like, just to scale with the other PNSO figures. And honestly, I did think this figure was a little bigger than it is, but that honestly is impressive considering like the level of detail and stuff on this figure to be as small as it is. I mean, it is a good size figure. Okay, mine seems to stand fairly well actually. And the stripes on mine actually look really good. I don't know if this is like, if where they redid it, they did the stripes better or something, but I did see some people complaining about the stripes not looking great on theirs. And I've seen some people's jaws open way wider, and mine might can. It's just messing with it, and I just don't really want to... Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. The jaws can open really wide. I don't think I'm going to keep mine that wide. Honestly, I've heard a bunch of people say that they... Like, I do like that just slightly open mouth, but I honestly kind of like just the closed mouth. But yeah, mine's standing fine right now without the base. We'll see how that remains to be seen. Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, okay, we'll just go with that for now. But yeah, like I said, initial thoughts, this figure looks great. It is a little smaller than I honestly thought it was, but I mean, I honestly still really like it. And the stripes on mine look really good, which I've seen some people have stripes that don't look great, but the stripes on mine, I believe, look really, really good. And now we'll just go over some information about the animal itself. So Carcharodontosaurus is a very large theropod dinosaur that lived during the Cretaceous and was found in a few formations, including the Kim beds, the Ekkar Formation, and the Bahariya Formation, all in North Africa, where between those formations it would have hunted prey like sauropods like Rabacusaurus and Paralotitan. I don't have figures of either of those. I'm hoping to get some though. And also there were lots of crocodilians like Caprosuchus. And also in these formations it would have competed and lived with other large theropods, well, a lot of other theropods including Rugops and Deltadromeus, and also lived with one other very large predator, Spinosaurus. Obviously that Spinosaurus is a little big, I think, for scale. That's the Papospinosaurus. Yeah, but Spinosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus are both very large apex predators, and the only reason they were able to live in the same formation was niche partitioning, where Spinosaurus primarily hunted fish, while Carcharodontosaurus hunted the large dinosaurs like sauropods, meaning that this was a very rich environment, being able to hold two of the largest apex predators ever. And as far as like the classification and stuff, Carcharodontosaurus has two species, Carcharodontosaurus saharicus and iguadensis. Carcharodontosaurus itself is a Carcharodontosauridae member. I think it's gave the family its name, but it is in the family Carcharodontosauridae, which includes itself, Giganotosaurus, Concavenator, and Acrocanthosaurus. But Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus are also in the subfamily Carcharodontosaurinae, which includes most of the really big Carcharodontosaurs like Giganotosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, and Mapusaurus. But the family Carcharodontosauridae is in the superfamily Allosauridae, which obviously includes Allosaurus, a relative of all of these, and dinosaurs like Allosaurus, and these dinosaurs possibly derived from Allosaurus. And this is one of the largest theropods to ever exist, along with Spinosaurus and T-Rex. And when comparing Carcharodontosaurus specifically to T-Rex, one of the major differences is the teeth. T-Rex has teeth more designed for crushing, while Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus have teeth more designed for ripping or tearing flesh. But yeah, now so that's the information about the animal over. So now we'll go into just the review of the figure itself. Not exactly sure out of the two species which this is supposed to represent out of Saharicus and Iguadensis, but especially considering that we don't have like a ton of fossils of either, it makes sense, almost be like a collage of the two and just represent the genus itself and not really a specific species. But I have heard some people say that they believe this is based off Saharicus, based off the pamphlet, the fossils shown in the pamphlet, but that's just what I've heard some people say. But like I said, I'm not exactly sure which of the two it's supposed to represent. But like I said, I have heard some people say it is Saharicus, or they believe it's Saharicus. And then I did want to mention that it does have a very similar color scheme to the PNSO Allosaurus. And I do know that a bunch of people have complained about this. And mainly just because they think it's lazy and they just like having different colored dinosaurs on their shelves. And I do understand that, but I think it makes sense for these two dinosaurs to have similar color schemes because they would have had similar niches in their environments, both hunting large prey like sauropods. So to both have a similar color scheme of both like a greenish brown with the like tiger stripes, I think makes sense. Just because, like I said, these are two animals that would have had the exact, well, not the exact same, but a very similar niche. So it makes sense for them to have a similar color scheme and both being related to each other. I just think it makes sense. But I do understand why some people do see this as lazy. But overall, I really, really love this figure. I'll try to just get some more angles and stuff on it. But yeah, I really, really love this figure. And I personally have no complaints with it. I'm very happy that I chose to add it to the collection. But I will mention there is one thing that I know a bunch of people are going to have a complaint about, and that is, the lips, or I should say the lack of lips. This figure does not have lips, and I know a bunch of people think that the dinosaur should have lips, or the theropod should have lips. But honestly, I probably lean that lips are probably the more accurate thing, but I definitely think there is evidence for both sides, even though I do think it's probably should be lipped. But since I think there's evidence for both sides, I'm not going to really have that big of an issue with either side until we get some definitive side that one way it should be this or the other way. But I definitely lean towards lips, but I'm not really going to complain about that on the figure, like I said. And now I'm going to do like some highlighted comparisons. So every individual figure review I do, I go over, I show off some other figures throughout the video, but I'm going to try to do some more highlighted comparisons, specifically compare it to some other figures. So one, we're going to re-show it off compared to the PNSO Allosaurus. So like I said, these two make a lot of sense to compare because they're both related to each other, both being Allosauroidea members. And both, like I said, Allosaurus possibly becoming the theropods, possibly becoming Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus. So it makes sense. And like I said, both of these figures look amazing. I really like both of them. I'll definitely have these two side by side on the shelf, but I do understand why some people think that they're a little too similar for their liking. And then we're going to compare it to the Carnegie Giganotosaurus. Really love both of these figures. I mean, I'm definitely glad to have another really big Carcharodontosaur in my collection. I do have some other Carcharodontosaurus figures, but now to finally have another really big one in the collection. I mean, I know this is Giganotosaurus, but I just mean Carcharodontosaurs in general. So I'm glad to have another really big one in the collection, because this has been one of my favorite figures in the collection for a while, and I think these two are both going to be some of my favorites. And now we're going to compare it to all the other Carcharodontosaurus figures I have in my collection. I didn't have a ton of Carcharodontosaurus figures, but I do have a few. So I guess we'll go with the one that I've had the longest first, the Geo World Jurassic Hunters. Probably not everybody's favorite Carcharodontosaurus figure by any means, but I do personally like this figure, even though I do think Geo World has a slight cartoonish look, but I do like the Geo World figures, even though I know they're definitely not everybody's favorite. And then we have the old Safari Ltd. Carcharodontosaurus. They've done a more recent one that looks more accurate, but obviously this one is outdated compared to this one. And then we have the Dinosaur King little mini Carcharodontosaurus, just a little itty bitty figure. I guess could sub in for a baby one. But yeah, this, at least for my collection, is the best Carcharodontosaurus figure. I have the definitive one in my collection. And I think this is one of the best Carcharodontosaurus figures out on the market. While there are some other good ones, like the Safari Ltd. One I believe is really good, the more recent one at least. And then the Collect A one was like the best one for a while until this one and one other one came out. But this one and the GR Toys, or the How Long Good, I'm not for sure exactly which one of those two brands it is. It might be considered both, but it's one of those two, is another really good Carcharodontosaurus. But I personally prefer the PNSO one out of those two. But I definitely see why people like that one as well. So for my collection, and I believe a lot of other people's collections, this will be the best Carcharodontosaurus they own. And now I'll go over some featured documentaries that Carcharodontosaurus is in. Carcharodontosaurus does appear in the documentary Planet Dinosaur, which is a personal favorite of mine. Planet Dinosaur, if I didn't mention, I love the appearance of Carcharodontosaurus in it. It has a lot of good scenes, even though the formation that it's shown in is a little iffy because it features Sarcosuchus and Ouranosaurus, which I don't actually believe Carcharodontosaurus shared any formations with, but they are featured, and I kind of understand why they did it, but just to show off, a bunch of popular species, and there's a chance that they could have lived together, just they haven't been found in the same formations yet, but it is currently considered inaccurate, I guess, unless you're just being really speculative. But yeah, I guess now we'll go over all the featured figures. So we did show off a lot of awesome figures in this video. So obviously, this is the PNSO Carcharodontosaurus. Oh no, is he not going to stand after all this? Okay, I think it's just my table being like slightly warped. Yeah, the PNSO Carcharodontosaurus, the PNSO Allosaurus. Okay, I don't trust him to stand. I'll trust this one to stand for now, until it gives me a reason to think otherwise. The PNSO Miragaia. The Pterobibitat Acrocanthosaurus. The Papo Limited Edition Spinosaurus, a massive figure. Kind of forget about that one even being in the collection, just because the Papo figures, most of them are the more inaccurate figures in my collection, but then that one being one of the more accurate Spinosauruses, at least when it was released. If you consider it a swimming Spinosaurus, that is. A Carnegie Concavenator, which I did recently review, so I'll put a link to that video. Oh, and I also will put a link to the big PNSO lot video, where the Christmas lot that I picked up a lot of PNSO figures, including that Allosaurus. The Carnegie Collection Giganotosaurus, one of my favorite comparisons with that figure. The Safari Ltd. Field Museum Zoo, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then the 3 Carcharodontosaurus figures that I showed off, the Dinosaur King Carcharodontosaurus, the Geo World Jurassic Hunters Carcharodontosaurus, and the old Safari Ltd. Carcharodontosaurus. But in conclusion, I think this is a really, really great figure, and I would definitely recommend picking it up if you get the chance, especially if you can get it for a really good price like I did. I think it's a really great figure, and with the new Carcharodontosaurus coming out for PNSO, I definitely think it's kind of gotten like underrated, kind of forgotten about. So I would definitely recommend picking it up if you get the chance. But yeah, I just really think it's a great figure, and I really hope you all get a chance to get this figure as well to add to your collection, because I do think it is one of the best Carcharodontosaurs out. But I will say I do really like those 2 new Carcharodontosaurs. PNSO released like 3 new Carcharodontosaurs, the Meraxes, the Mapusaurus, and a Giganotosaurus that's in their museum line, so it's more expensive, and that's why I don't know if I'll get that one. At least if I get the other 2, I probably will get those 2 before the Giga. And then they've also released a bunch of new Tyrannosaurs that I really like an Albertosaurus and Gorgosaurus that both look really good, as well as like Lithernax. But yeah, PNSO has been on a roll in the past few years, especially on theropods and pretty much all dinosaurs really, but I've really liked some of their recent theropods. And one other thing I do want to mention, this is going to be the last video before the big 250 subscriber special. I think we're way over 250 by now, like almost at like 270 at this point. So yeah, I just want to thank y'all so much for that. But yeah, the big 250 subscriber collection video will be the next video on the channel. So I just want to thank you all once again for getting me up to there. I almost forgot one of the figures that I wanted to talk about the most during the featured figures section. Really quick was this little Caprosuchus figure. This was in the Animal Planet Micro Kingdom line. And this one honestly was like kind of like a mystery, like secret figure, because I don't believe it was on the checklist, the original checklist, but it was like added in the line, like in this one big set that was like one of the last sets to come out. But yeah, the Animal Planet Micro Kingdom line is a kind of weird line that I don't think many people collected, but I happen to, so I did just want to mention him here at the end.